Another Treyarch game meant another round of Zombies maps, and another round of Zombies maps meant more Easter egg songs, and Black Ops 2 is no exception to this. The story also got crazier, like introducing a bunch of stuff that happened before World at War, which we'll get into later. Okay, I had to mention this every time I do one of these, but these interpretations are mostly mine. I did use Genius.com a few times to get an idea of what the lyrics were talking about, and my interpretations may not be what Sherwood had in mind when he made these songs. So this video is just a fun way to discuss the songs of Black Ops 2. Without further ado, let's get right into Black Ops 2's Easter egg songs. Let's start everything off with Tranzit's Carrion. For the first time, players get to take control of the Victus crew, and since we have a new team, and since Samantha isn't controlling the zombies anymore, it's only natural we get a new singer. So Clark S. Nova took up the vocals for this song, and diarized this song. Oh yeah, you see, during the Moon Easter egg, Richtofen took over Samantha's body so he can control the zombies, and with that, the rest of the Ultimates crew realized all he wanted was the ultimate power. So they contacted Maxis. Yeah, he's still alive. Just know he was able to preserve his soul in a magical place. Maxis convinces the crew to fire missiles at Earth, so the link between the zombies and the world can be destroyed, but in doing so, it absolutely demolishes the Earth. Maxis is now working with his backup plan, which is to open up the gateway to Agartha, so the timeline can start again. But Richtofen also talks to one of the survivors, Stellinger, to sabotage the plan. If you think all of that's confusing, there's a bunch of other stuff like the Keepers and the Apothecons that I don't want to get into just yet. So just keep all the Moon stuff in mind for now. Anyways, Carrion is mostly about being a zombie, but some of it could also be about Stellinger, as he was part of a group called New Flesh, who consume flesh, and as such, is the reason Richtofen could talk to him. Also, this song, along with pretty much the rest of the tunes in this video, make references to previous Easter egg songs, and their cleverness varies. Alright, enough of all that, let's actually talk about the lyrics now.
Like a dream where I'm falling and calling out, my resistance is silent. I can feel but I still can't control myself. Please forgive me now.
The zombies feel like they're in a dream, but they can't do anything about it. Their body and feeling of being alive are there, but they can't really think or be mindful of who they are. These lyrics also seem to indicate the zombies feel some kind of shame, or else why would they ask for forgiveness? It could also be Stellinger asking why he must suffer through these trying times, and he asks for forgiveness when he eats the zombies and kills them as well. Obviously referring to the zombies' being and way of life. Shadow Nothing is a callback to Ascension's song, Abracadaver, as these are the answers to Samantha's riddles. The next chorus also references coming home. Anyways, Richtofen can be considered Stellinger's shadow, as he's always in his head. Eternal Night could be about the new state of the Earth, now that it's largely destroyed, and how Tranzit takes place at night. Infernal Rite is how the zombies are alive, and undead. Their rite of passage is through Element 115 and a dead body. The zombies aren't the only ones that want Carrion. Stellinger ate rotten flesh because of the group he was in, so this chorus is possibly referring to him as well.
I could scream but I know I won't hear myself. I'm a slave to synapses. In my dream is the sound of a lullaby calling me the one.
I do wonder what Sherwood meant by the first sentence, as the zombies scream all the time. Well, maybe it's about the humans, because even if they do scream, they won't be heard by anybody. Or should I say anybody that can really help them, considering everything happening in game. Synapse is sort of the way nerve cells transmit signals to each other, so this could be about how impulsive the zombies and survivors are to each other, considering they make quick decisions in order to survive. This is also a callback to the chorus mentioning neurons fire when I violate. Anyways, the sound of a lullaby is referring to both Stellinger and the zombies. Stellinger is being told to sabotage Victus' mission, and the zombies are being controlled to kill them. Lullaby in the one are references to the World at War songs, and this is further than the next phrase mentioning Undone, 115, Coming Home, and Damned. The post-chorus is about Richtofen's control over the zombies. The undead are back, now under his control, and ready to stop Victus in their tracks. It's also about his plan to sabotage Maxis, so he can keep the power all for himself. Although let's just say, he certainly atones for his sins. Okay, let's jump over to Die Rise. This map takes place on and in several tall buildings, with Victus having to traverse from building to building, something that is brought up in the song. Hell, it's in the title. After Tranzit, the crew is teleported to Shanghai, China, and of course, Maxis gives them a new set of orders to quote-unquote restore the Earth. Let's get right into this one. Xenosia Keopis is one of the mite species that spread the Black Plague, so this is most likely referring to how the zombies continue to spawn and kill the humans, like how the mites spread the disease. This could also be a reference to how the zombies and survivors are constantly jumping about from platform to platform in this map, like how a flea jumps from one spot to another on an animal. The number NDCLXV is 1665, which corresponds to the terrible spread of the Black Plague in London, so again, referring to the death toll of the zombies, or perhaps the death toll of Maxis' missiles. DNA is used to make CXV, aka 115. The microbiology is continuing in the next sentence, with ferritin being the cells that hold iron, so it could be about how the survivors are using ferritin because of how much blood they're losing from being hit by the undead, or the zombies use ferritin in order to track down the humans, as referenced in Shinonuma's The One. Once again, the song describes that the zombies are alive, but not necessarily living, as evidenced by their behavior. Totally Awful Down is probably about how the zombies and humans fall down, with both words referring to anatomy, so Sherwood is bringing up macrobiology with this one. The Martyr's Brethren are the zombies, the martyr being Maxis. He sacrificed himself, so Samantha would use the zombies to kill Group 935. In vitro refers to when organisms are experimented with outside of their regular environment, or body, and in vivo is when organisms are experimented with inside of their bodies. Since Earth is completely destroyed, it's out of its natural state. And in vivo could be about how 115 is in the bodies of the zombies, in Stullinger, or how the zombies want the insides of the humans. The Phantom and Shadows are referring to the zombies, but I think they could also apply to Richtofen's link with Stullinger. The scientist is spewing his mad sentiment in his head, and since he can never get away from him, Stullinger is constantly one with Richtofen. Okay, here's the least complex song of the bunch. Where Are We Going from Mob of the Dead? Here are all the lyrics to demonstrate my point. This time, since we have a new crew, we got another singer, Malukah, to provide vocals for this depressing tune. Okay, to keep this section short and sweet, this song is most likely about how the crew was living a life of crime and not having a clear purpose or direction. And this is repeated once the prisoners fight against the undead and have little idea on what they should do besides escape. If they do escape, where do they go literally and figuratively? It's also a reference to the afterlife. The characters are able to enter purgatory, but return back to themselves on the level. So, are they dead if they can do this? And if they're not, what happens when they do die? Let's go underground with our next song, Always Running. Oddly enough, despite the song pertaining to the Victus crew, Clark S. Nova didn't return. Rather, Malukah came back for the song for some reason. Well, this is the last Black Ops 2 map with the Victus crew, and we won't see them again until Black Ops 4, so let's not stall and get into the end of the Victus journey, at least in this time loop, by diving into the lyrics.
In this solemn field of silence, I can barely feel the pain. Blind and deaf to all the violence, and I've always felt this way.
It seems the Victus crew is experiencing their own beauty of annihilation, which, funny enough, is explicitly mentioned in this song. where the violence of killing and fatigue of having to constantly survive is starting to become another day in their life. The complacency and the desensitization is really taking over. Also, in true Beauty of Annihilation fashion, this could also be about the zombies because they can't feel anything emotionally, so nothing they do is really registering in their mind, ergo, the violence has no effect on them.
On the wind, the smell of misery, fear and death perfume the air. It begins again in mystery, and I always end up there.
Sherwood used this imagery to illustrate the dire situation and push the idea of a painful life. Now, the last part, well, this is something I'll get more into for the next two lyric analysis, but just know, this zombies universe is a constant time loop, so this lyric, and song title, are a reference to how the characters will ever be damned to do the same thing over and over again. I'll explain the time loop thing again for Black Ops 3 and 4, so just know it's happening for now. The next phrase is also something we'll get into for later videos, but just know, there's an entity that drives the cycle, and here he mentions how easy it is to manipulate everybody to do what he wants them to do. The chorus is about the humans. The humans are trying to run from becoming the undead, both physically and mentally. The physical part is obvious, but for the mental part, Victus is becoming more and more desensitized and less human due to their trials and tribulations, like killing the zombies and doing the Easter eggs. And the rest of the song pretty much repeats this sentiment. Victus is becoming so emotionally drained, it's hard to see the reason for doing anything, or to keep going. Every order is something they must not challenge or question because, well, what else do they have to live for? Okay, now into Origin's Archangel. While we do have Richtofen, Nikolai, Dempsey, and Takio back, this is not the Ultimus crew, rather the Primus crew. Instead of fighting in World War II, they fight in World War I. Okay, buckle up for this one because this is a wild ride. So Maxis was able to destroy the Earth with the help of Victus, and transports his soul into another dimension with a different history than the previous timeline. So now, Richtofen is Maxis' adopted son, and these events take place in the 1910s rather than the 1940s. Samantha was also banished in this dimension after Richtofen took her body, so she talks to Maxis and tells him she's his daughter and he must free her. Maxis goes insane from this, so Richtofen lobotomizes him and keeps his brain, and not long after this, the rest of the Primus crew find themselves together fighting the undead. Also, I had to bring this up, but before anything in any of these games happened, there were these magical beings known as the Apothicons. Now I don't want to get too into it, but just know they're completely evil and led to bad things in the last two games that happened. Additionally, nobody except for Samantha has any memory of the previous universe they were in. Oh, one more thing, I promise. Elena, Clark, and Malukah all provide vocals for this song. After all, it was the last tune before Black Ops 3, so it needed to feel like a real finale, so this makes so much sense. Okay, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. Samantha is talking about how she's back after being gone for the majority of this game's zombies mode, but she's still trapped in Agartha, so she can't be there physically. Samantha has control over this world and the ability to fight the Apothicons, so they don't corrupt this world, a sentiment that's repeated in the next phrase. Samantha talks about only she can control herself, not the Apothicons, and when the first timeline ended, she was full of anger and hatred, but she had to let the previous universe end, so this time, things can be better. Once again, the next phrase, and even the chorus, have a similar meaning, with Samantha realizing she's still tainted from the evil of the first world, but she will be the one that ends everything in this universe. This is about how Samantha had to wait for Maxis to end the first timeline, so she could begin her plan to stop the Apothicons from controlling everything and killing everybody. And that was all of Black Ops 2's Easter egg songs. I gotta say, I'm impressed and enjoyed that Sherwood got more clever with his lyrics. Not that Black Ops 1's lyrics weren't complex, but this game has some really awesome vocals. They held a lot of meaning, and the small references to the other songs are nice too. Even Where Are We Going, despite only having so many lyrics, is short but sweet. It certainly holds its own. Alright, that's all for now. Next time, I'll strap on my snakeskin boots and explore Black Ops 3. That one certainly doesn't work as good as the other two finishers,